fourth episode of the ND podcast. We're here with Peter Morsellino. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yep.
All right, cool. Yeah, you are known for well, shit, man. You have a bunch of projects. Serpent Moon was one of the ND projects that's now a defunct project, and now I guess like your two main ones that you have now are Skin Pig and Angelingus, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, and then of course we have that an upcoming release that's being released under your own name.
Yeah.
But but yeah, we can yeah, I don't know where should we start at? Yeah, man, how long have you been making music for? And like what because like the most recent thing that I saw from you where I was just like because like I love your black metal stuff, your noise stuff is great, and then I heard the song that you did on the Vulgaris compilation, the Broke track. It
Oh
was kind
yeah,
of like,
Broken. Yeah.
yeah. And I was just like, man, this guy just like, yeah, you have a lot, like, do a lot of different stylings, And I just like, I thought that was like really interesting. Um, yeah. How did it all begin?
How did it all begin? I mean, it's like the stupidest origin story on earth. When I was like 11, 12 years old, I was a huge Slipknot fan.
Oh, yeah.
I was reading a magazine, I think it was like Hit Parader or something like that, and I saw a musician's friend ad that had Mick Thompson's guitar. And I was like, Dad, I want this guitar. And he said, You don't play guitar, dipshit. And fucking, yeah, 21 years later, I'm still paying for that mistake. So,
No, I love it, dude, because it's like, yeah, man, you're just like, I don't know, anybody that like has like is able to dabble in like multiple genres and it's like all like consistently good. I'm just like, yeah, just always like super impressed, And like everything that you've shown, I mean, yeah, everything that I've seen from your work has all been like super sick. I love it, you
oh,
know.
thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, some of it's honestly just boredom. If I feel like doing something, we live in a great age for technology. So, I have almost the capability to do more or less anything that I want to,
yeah.
if I hear something and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool, I can maybe, you know, try my hand at that. That's more or less possible in this day and age, in terms of like virtual instruments and stuff like that.
Yeah. Do you ever find the virtual instrument thing like just like the because of the infinite possibilities, it's like almost like overwhelming. It's like, cracking up with
Yeah.
the dog. It's like, fuck.
Yeah, that was one of the issues that I ran into with Serpent Moon. Was when I first started that project, I had a default like a completely blank, but I had all the instruments loaded up in FL Studio, um, so that I was always using the same drum kit, the same bass, the same like main synth, and the same piano. And those were my four instruments other than my voice. And the first two Serpent Moon albums were recorded like just with that. And
Hmm.
then after that, I broke my rule, and that's when I started getting really overwhelmed with.
I mean, yeah, it's like, it's the same thing with like Netflix and like Hulu and stuff, where it's just like,
Yeah, you look for
there's just too
hours.
many options.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then you just
spend
watch
more time
YouTube.
looking than, uh, like what, I mean, like, yeah, recently, you kind of like the Serpentman project came to an end, and then I think like with that, like a phoenix rising from the ashes came the Angelingus project. What made you like decide to end the Serpent Moon project and then just do I guess like focus on the noise thing?
Well, I started Angelingus. Um, geez, when was that? I mean, I guess it was like last about a year ago.
Mhm.
Um, and at the time, like Serpent Moon was still going strong. Um, Serpent Moon kind of had to end. It was just not great for my mental health. It
Mhm.
was it was so predicated in misery that it just yeah, it just fed all of my, it wasn't therapeutic at all.
Okay, yeah.
It was sort of like just dwelling on stuff. And it kind of plays into this feeling that I've had about like music in general, like going back to being like 19 years old playing like emo songs at an open mic night and getting positive validation for like the first time in your life. And then as time goes on, you're recording music and you just, I kind of had this realization that I was getting positive reinforcement for like bad coping skills. Just like my depression is the only thing I've been praised for up until this point. So let's see what.
No, I kind of get that because it's like, I mean, yeah, you can tell like just listening to those, yeah, listening to the work under that project is just like just the atmosphere and just like the I don't know, it's just so crushing that it's like I can't imagine it coming from any place that's not riddled in just
Yeah.
bad bars. But I mean, for the time that it was around, like yeah, it's like such a good project. Like I really like it. Um, and then that the solo project that you have, or not, I shouldn't call it a solo project, but like the one that's like that you're releasing under your name, that I've
Yes.
not yet announced. Oppenheimer in Japan. I was listening to that like earlier this week, and it's like it almost kind of reminds me of like the instrumental parts of the Serpent tracks, but it's like not as like distorted and stuff. It's like more of
Hmm.
like a more bright and like, but it's still kind of like just hearing it. It's like okay, I can see how like the Serpent Moon stuff kind of I don't know, it almost feels like a building off of that kind of just like um but yeah, that's like man, that's a really good yeah, because I've been listening to that this week and I'm like I'm really excited to get that one released. I think that one yeah, that's like another just great project. I
Hmm.
guess even though I haven't like announced it yet, I think by the time that this gets released, this we'll be at that point where it's announced so we can talk about it a little bit more. Where did yeah, I guess if you want to talk more about like the inspiration that came behind the Oppenheimer project. And this was before the
Hmm.
movie. This was way
Yeah.
before the movie. This has been like you sent this to me like last year. It's just been like in the works.
Yeah, I think I was looking at stuff. It was like January or something that had finished it, like going
Yeah.
backwards in like messages or something. Um, yeah, I don't know. I just I'm one of those guys that's like constantly on Wikipedia, just like anything that I'm like not.
Those rabbit holes.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the things, this is another stupid origin story for something that turned out pretty good. I was listening to Cattle Decapitation, and I think it's Gristle Liquor has the I am become death refrain. And I was like, who the fuck said that? I know who said that. Who the fuck? And I looked it up. It's Oppenheimer. And then I was like at work or something one night, and I was like, yeah, I don't know much about Oppenheimer, and got my phone out, and yeah, rabbit hole. And
Wikipedia is by far like the greatest thing to come out of like
oh my god,
the
it's
whole internet
amazing.
revolution. Like,
Yeah, it's like
I mean,
uh, we have like the world's knowledge in our pocket at all times, and
yeah, like I love Wikipedia. I can spend and I have spent just hours just clicking
yeah,
through like, next thing you know, you're like, yeah, you're on a 4 hour rabbit hole reading about the island of Sardinia or something.
yeah,
Like it's just
exactly. Yeah, and with the Oppenheimer thing, there was like three sentences like in the middle of it that were about him going to Japan. And it's like this is such an interesting story. Like why isn't this like more of a thing? Like
yeah.
and I suppose that the answer to that question is that it wasn't a thing, and then that's where the project comes in, is that sort of reimagining of history.
Yeah. No, it's yeah, it's really interesting and like I like well, because like with all of your projects that like we've done together so far, it's like there's usually like there's been like extras with it, like we have the matches and the envelope, and this thing's gonna add like all
Mm.
the extra pictures and stuff. It's like I don't know. I think that's probably just that's like something I really enjoy with your releases. I think just makes it just feel all that more. just tangible is like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the extra stuff that you like come up to include with it is just like adds to the story and stuff. Like with this album, it's like it's all instrumental, but then from the track titles and like the extra art and stuff that comes with it, it's like you piece it together, like which I think is just super cool. Is that like a with like that project? Do you think you're gonna do like more stuff with it, or is it like a kind of like a
I
one off?
have um I had another one recorded that I think will be released sort of towards the end of the year, which is a little bit more of a loose concept, but it's another orchestral piece that that'll be coming out soon, I think.
Cool. Are you able to like talk more about the concept, or is that still kind of like something you're keeping under wraps?
No, I don't think it needs to be kept under wraps. It's gonna be it's called Letters to Marina, and it's sort of based on Marina Oswald, and just sort of it's a little bit more of a loose concept, so it's just like letters towards her, kind of like set in the time period of the JFK assassination, just sort of,
Cool.
yeah, just kind of like
Cool.
dealing it's four tracks, again, four movements, whatever you want to call them. I'm not a composer.
Mhm.
Somebody just called me that in a magazine once, and then I just kind of ran with it. um but yeah, it's they go by the seasons, so it's sort of like you know sort of like as a year progresses, the writer's feelings towards her, and different kind of emotions and stuff like that I just tried to explore.
Cool. Oh yeah, I'm stoked to hear that. That sounds like really interesting. I like that. I got it's like another like kind of like historical kind of thing,
Yeah,
like
sort of like a
uh
historical fiction
yeah,
alternate history kind of thing, yeah.
yeah. Um, who do you think was behind the JFK assassination?
The my favorite theory, um somebody wrote, some kind of like master marksman wrote a book. I'm gonna butcher this completely because I'm like half remembering all of the details. um the crux of it is that a gun was accidentally discharged by a Secret Service member
Whoa.
behind him, after like Oswald fired off like a shot and missed or something like that. But there's apparently some amount of evidence that points towards that theory. But, you know, which is really interesting that the one of like the major events in world history, especially like in this country, like a huge turning point in like everything, was a workplace accident. That's like really interesting kind of.
I don't know that theory. It's like it's interesting, but it's almost just like it's almost too boring for me though. Like I need it to be like a more fantastical like.
I mean,
Uh,
if there was a literal magic bullet, that would also be wonderful.
yeah. Uh, yeah, we were talking about we're talking about like Wikipedia rabbit holes. I think there's been more than a few times that I just ended up going through just reading about fucking JFK
Oh
assassination
yeah.
theories.
No, yeah. Sometimes it's like 2 o'clock in the morning and you're just not sleeping, and it's like, all right, it's time to solve this case finally.
Now, I'm like a sucker for well, I mean, now people be taking conspiracy theories like way too like it's not
Yeah,
fun anymore to be a
yeah,
conspiracy theory guy. But like, if we're talking like JFK assassination, aliens, Bigfoot, I'm here for it.
yeah. It's my favorite. But yeah, like you said, conspiracy theories got a lot of like the fun sucked out of them in the last couple of years.
Yeah, ruining it for everybody else.
Yeah.
You believe in aliens? Have you ever seen a UFO?
I have not. I have never seen anything cool.
Really?
Yeah. And I don't know if that's because of my mindset, because I love all that stuff in terms of stories, but I am a skeptic.
Mm.
Um, I love reading about Bigfoot. But if I see like somebody posts, like if I see the post on Facebook or Instagram of Bigfoot, I'm gonna need him to be like showing government ID, like before I,
Like he's holding today's newspaper out.
yeah, with like his grandma's like confirming his identity.
I mean, his tax records.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I don't know. I recently I had my very like my first UFO sighting that like I'm pretty sure was like it was a UFO because there was someone else there that was like trying to give every single explanation for it until it started doing some weird movements that could no longer be like explained. Uh, but yeah, I don't know. Like I've never before that though. I've never had any like interesting like paranormal or supernatural encounters. But I almost think that it's like I'm on the opposite end where it's like I'm looking too hard for it. It's like I want it so badly that it's like
I would love it, honestly. I love all that shit so much.
I used to be like really scared that I would be like, yeah, I don't know like what started it. But I used to just be like really terrified of like driving home at night because I was like afraid that I was gonna get like abducted. So
And it's a
finally got over
scary,
that. But
yeah, it's a valid fear. I feel like nothing wrong with it.
um, yeah. Well, what about? Sorry to get like too off topic.
No.
But you see those the Mexican mummies that they just released the pictures of?
Yeah. It looks it looks very familiar, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like I don't know I don't know who released that exactly, like either officially or in real life. Um I don't know. I mean, I would love that's another I'm like so cynical about life and the world that I would love for that to be real just because it's so underwhelming.
yeah.
The mummy.
It was like that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like, and if it's because if it's fake, you could have gotten like I don't know. Did you see like Independence Day? Those things looked awesome, but no.
I feel like yeah, like the truth is probably like much more much more boring than like
Yeah.
what we actually like hope and expect for. But yeah, those things like I don't know. I swear I've seen like pictures like that before, like hoax
Yeah.
pictures. So like yeah,
But
I
I
don't
mean, maybe that's the thing. Maybe like every one of those pictures that looked exactly like that thing were also real. So
yeah, that's true. Um, I don't know. And then it's like it kind of looked like I don't know. I guess it kind of like looked like the just like generic alien shape with like the big head and stuff that they portray in movies and stuff. But
yeah.
I've seen people they're like, oh, the way those gray aliens in the movies, it's because they've already found aliens that look like that, and the movies are being funded by the government to prepare us. you know?
The I've actually heard a theory that like the initial gray alien design that was who's like the big famous like one of the really early UFO like abduction stories. I think Betty and Barney Hill.
Yeah,
Is that right? Um Apparently an episode of The Outer Limits used that gray alien design like a month or two before they had
oh,
their incident. So I don't know. Apparently that guy made it. So
huh.
I don't know. Yeah. But like I said, I'm a fucking killjoy. I'm a lot of this shit.
I don't know. That's like the one thing that like gives me yeah, I just want to see aliens in my lifetime. It's like one of my big like hopes of my life.
It seems plausible. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't yeah, I don't know. But
I
then
mean, it seems likely. I don't know. It's a hard one. That's a hard topic to tackle.
I don't know. We live in an era where it's just like there's nothing. I mean, I guess we have the internet, but it's like we're in that weird middle area where it's like, and people, there's been memes where it's like born too early to explore space, born too late to explore Earth. It's
Yeah.
like I want to see some fucking aliens then.
Yeah. And it'd definitely be cool, but everything, yeah, I don't know. I'm just old. Everything real is underwhelming. So it's just
Now, aliens is like the one spark that like I've managed to maintain from my youth of just oh, aliens are real. Everything else though is just like, yeah, I'm like a crotchety old man now. I'm just like bitter about everything.
yeah, and it happens. It's definitely I think the trick is to like take those things and like just maintain the magic or like, let the magic change along with your perception of it.
Yeah,
Mm. It's like we all know wrestling's fake, but it's awesome because in a UFC fight, nobody wins by jumping off the cage. You know,
they need more of that though.
yeah.
Man, I never got into I never got into like wrestling as a kid, and I feel like I really I missed out on like a huge because I grew up at like I was born in '94, so like I feel like I like missed that era of like peak WWE. I think I
Yeah,
was
that
like
was
I
like when
liked
it
the
ruled the
Undertaker.
world, kind of. Yeah,
Yeah, I liked the Undertaker because I kind of just like latched on to like a wrestler so that I could be able to talk to kids at school about it. But it's like I never like watched that shit or got into it enough to where it was like I followed it. And yeah, I kind of like that's like one of the things I'm just like, damn, I really missed out on because
yeah.
yeah,
I mean, yeah, there was a certain point, like in like the late '90s, that it was just everywhere, and I don't think it'll ever be like that again. But it's now is a pretty good time in the
like,
entire uh sport.
is it kind of making like a resurgence or something? Like,
A little bit. More of like a resurgence of quality than anything else.
hmm,
I think it's a lot more popular than it's been in a long time, but it's definitely better quality in the last 5 years, maybe a little bit more than it's been in the last 20. So
cool.
yeah.
That's kind of like yeah, I don't know. It's like I guess wrestling is probably kind of similar to like comic books where it's like it really peaked in the '90s and then from there just kind of like yeah.
Well, I
Uh,
think they're like similar in their essence, it's like stories
yeah,
about like to an extent it's stories about good and evil and like you know imaginary combat and like it's
yeah, yeah.
yeah
It is like yeah. Uh, Yeah, maybe I mean that's maybe probably like why I didn't like get super deep into wrestling is because I was over here like obsessing with yeah, I was like real deep into comic books for a while and then just yeah, that just became it became too much collecting the books and stuff. So kind of that
collecting
kind of fizzled
comics
out for me.
is it's a tough one. that's
Yeah,
that's another one for me where I go back and I just go big volumes. I've got two
yeah,
long boxes and that just got overwhelming, so I'm happy with like crappy reprints and like huge
yeah.
like
Just getting like the actual story, like
yeah, I just want to
yeah,
read it, man. Like I don't want to be stressed out about like a rare issue or something.
yeah. Now like man, when I was like at my peak comic book reading, I fucking like was just trying to like keep up with like the full storylines for like I know Batman was like one of the characters I was just like really into because I had read all the main storylines like just downloading the comics and like reading it from my computer. So then I was like, all right, I'm gonna start buying like the new issues, and then it's like you got like 6 issues coming out each week, all
Mhm.
related to Batman, and you got to get all of them if you want to know the full extent of the
Yeah,
story.
it's
And so like,
impossible. Like,
yeah, it got fucking ridiculous, and I'm so bad. I had started like a one of the pull list things for the comic shop. Well, like they hold
Mhm.
back the comics for you. And I just like, yeah, I just fell out of reading comics. I forgot to cancel my list thing. And then they
Yeah.
like called me like 6 months later and they're like, dude, you got all these comic books. Like, are you sure? And
It's
I'm just
like
like,
it's almost worse than owing them money because it's just shame.
yeah, I just never went back. I'm just like, I'm like, man, I know most of those itches are probably worth more now than what the cover price was. Like, you guys could do something with them. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It's something I kind of want to get back into, like at least filling up like the I don't know. I have like old series that I'd like to like fill out the collection, but
Mhm.
that's not something I could ever go keep up to date with.
No, I've never in my life like been reading comics as they came out. Like I've always like literally that's was probably my first love and like still like hold on to it today. But yeah, I've never read them as they came out. I was always at least a year or two behind that I was in, I'd go to the 50 cent or 25 cent comic box at the local place and just fill in my collection that way. And
Yeah. No, I mean that's definitely the way to do it. I don't know how. Yeah, if I collected comics, I would not be able to like. I wouldn't have money for it.
no,
So I know you're already like, yeah, I've yeah, I collect too many things. I'm like too much of like a hoarder as it is.
yeah,
So
I want to not be so badly, but
yeah, I wish I could be more of like a minimalist, because it's like I look around
Mhm.
and just like I'm surrounded by products,
I
but it's
know,
all
and
cool
it's
stuff though.
yeah, it's so cool. Like I love my tapes and my records and my comics, and it's like why, it's like I've got like Spotify, like I have literally every song I can think of. Like I would have to like really dig deep to like conjure something that they wouldn't find on there. And then but yeah, I've also have this like space in my house devoted to the same thing.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's just yeah, I don't know. Now I'm just looking around. I'm like,
Yeah, man, I've got cool stuff.
the worst is when I do like a deep clean and then I'm like pulling shit out that like I bought and I just like forgot
Oh yeah,
about.
all the time.
Yeah, I guess we can we can move away from like the aliens and all the we can talk more about the music stuff. Um did you want to talk more about like your project because you have a project coming out Friday tomorrow, right? So that would be
Yes, yeah,
you have a
totally.
project coming out on the 20 September 22nd. Uh
Apparently I do. Yeah,
uh
yeah, that's a thing.
preventing sexual harassment for employees. I love it. Got like the
Yeah,
booklet and everything. Uh yeah, is that gonna be like are you doing like a physical release with the booklets and stuff or
yeah, yep. The booklet is printed. Yeah, everything's printed. I need to make CDs. I'm slacking on that, but
oh yeah.
yeah, the first handful might be made to order. But yeah, it's that'll be a physical release. I'm just gonna do on my own, kind of spur of the moment. I've been looking at like 9 blank CDs on my desk that
Oh yeah.
I haven't really done anything with in a little while. So it's been a little bit since I self-released something. So it's tomorrow's the
Yeah.
day, I guess.
It doesn't have to be tomorrow. I think you said Friday, right? On Instagram.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, fuck it, Fred. This is the album's done. I've printed out the stuff. So.
And you know what? I mean, I probably won't get this edited until after the weekend. So it's like, sure by the time people see this, they're watching it, it'll be out.
Yeah, we're not live.
Yeah. I can never keep up with like I mean, I mean, I'm sure you're aware of it. Like I can't ever keep up with like when I say I'm gonna release something because it always like
Oh
I
man.
try to plan shit out and then stuff always ends up coming up. So
Yeah, or I will like set a release date, and then that's so far away. Like that's
yeah.
happened to me a couple times.
And then it's like, oh, I got it done. I might as well just like put it out there.
Yeah, or like I'll release or I'll record and release another album in the meantime.
Man, I'm like, I need to I record a lot, but then I never like, I don't know. Lately, I've been really bad about. Actually, I've been playing a lot, but I haven't been recording anything, which I think is. I need to start remembering to like hit that record button because this is like, I don't know. There's a lot of like cool stuff I've been coming up with, and then I like look over and I'm like, oh shit, I wasn't actually recording anything.
And that's the beauty of noise music for me, is that pretty much everything that I've ever done with it has been recorded,
Mhm.
because it's all improvisation. So as long as you just hit the button, like you're yeah, like and then if it ends up sounding good, then you've got a thing. So it's
Yeah. Um. Man, but okay, but like as a noise musician, like how do you something I'm kind of curious about, um, like when do you decide that like a track is like how do you decide a track is finished? Because that's like my biggest like I think that's one of my biggest things is like when I'm like working is like I never know like how like where I define a song at is like 'cause usually what I do is like I end up with like 10 to 15 minute like sessions where it's like yeah, like I'm just going off for like 15 minutes and then I listen back to it and I'm like, okay, well that's a track right there. But then I see like other people are, they're able to do like different, they split it up into like different tracks, and I'm just like, how do you I don't know. I guess
yeah, that's I don't know about that. When I do it, it depends on if I'm using hardware or software. Um, like right now with my synth setup, um, I'm mostly just going like when I'm done, when I feel that I'm done like making music for that session, then if I was recording that, then the track is done. Like after I like maybe like boost the volume or,
hmm,
you know, maybe EQ it a tiny bit. Um, Whereas if I'm using like software, since I'll tweak it until it just feels right. But it's always in terms of time and like length, um, it's almost always like a finished like that's whatever I end up with, that's the I try
the
not to cut
finish
it
line.
too much. Yeah.
Hmm. I just yeah, I don't know.
'Cause
I
I
guess
think
like
the evolution of a track is really interesting to me.
hmm,
Especially with like improvisation. Like I start like my first band was actually like a jam band. Like we were doing all like Fish and Grateful Dead and Pink Floyd covers and shit.
cool.
So like I kind of grew up with that in high school.
Hmm.
And so like that the whole like improvising something entirely is just super interesting to me, and seeing like where you start and where you end up. And yeah, I'm just not capable of like cutting any part of it out.
Yeah. No, that's 'cause, like I almost feel like my like the Mizrin project is like I have like a few releases, but it's like at the end of the day for me, it's just like a vehicle for me to like perform it live. Like that's how I like prefer
Mhm.
to like, it's a live project for me. Um and so then
No,
when
that's awesome.
I'm working on putting together like releases or splits with someone, that's when I'm really having to like kind of think like, okay, well, like how do I define like a track?
Hmm.
Like how do I define a track? Because
Yeah.
to me, when I'm making it, it's like yeah, I'm usually almost thinking about it like I'm just doing like a live rehearsal at home where I'll go for 30 minutes or something like that and then just like see what I have finished. And then go from there. But yeah, it's like I guess it's just like yeah, I think of it as like a live thing. And so when I'm thinking of it in terms of like an actual release, I feel like in my head it's like it should be more refined and like or just like I don't know. I guess like I guess more intent. They're like trying to define the intent behind it is like my biggest hurdle, I guess, when it comes to doing like a release.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get all that.
Um, and you've been doing like you've done like a couple live shows recently, right?
Um, for Angelingus, I played live over the summer, and I've got a Skin Pig show coming up in the next couple weeks. But
Cool.
yeah, hopefully more of both of those.
Yeah. I just yeah, because like with the noise shit, I think like I love seeing it live. You know, I mean, I listen to it occasionally at home, but it's definitely more like even my listening preferences. It's like seeing it live is like I feel like it is really like, and that's how what I tell people too that don't understand it is like, okay, we just need to see it live, and then you really
Yeah.
feel it.
Oh my God,
Uh,
it's amazing live. We had a local promoter, localish, like out in the Albany area, that was putting on like semi-regular noise shows, and I actually just lost him over the summer, like a few weeks ago, like literally a week after I played his noise show. He
I
was
think I think I might have heard about that. Was he the
Center
one that
Road.
like he got like shot right? Like at a
Yeah.
show? Okay, yeah.
Or like afterward, yeah, it was yeah, just fucking random fucking violence, just awful shit.
Fucking
Yeah.
dumb. Yeah.
Yeah. So hope he's left like a great legacy in terms of the DIY shows that are going around out in that area.
Mm.
So, it'll take time, but it's already like, people this Skin Pig project is like 100% like designed to be played live and played for those like small local DIY venues, and it's 100% like a tribute to that whole thing. So, you
Yeah.
know, it'll
The
keep
skin
going. He was a
the
cool
skin
guy.
bit project was cool. Like I saw you like us the video like the pictures and the videos with the pig mask and shit. It just looks fucking yeah, it looks fucking crazy. Like I'd love to see that live.
Yeah, it's that's where it was designed around. So it was like, yeah, I'm excited to be playing that and shit.
Yeah. That's like something I like want kind of what we're doing with like our Swamp Dragon project. That's all like mostly improvised too, but like we're trying to bring in like we're kind of do costumes and we're just trying to make it like more like just more theatrical and shit. So then it's
Mm,
really like uh yeah, more like more of like a performance than just like music and stuff.
yeah.
Which I don't know. I always just like kind of appreciate that noise. Like, I mean, there's a place for everything. Like, some dudes just be turning knobs or whatever, and like that's cool too. But like, I like it when people are really really involved in it and like
Yeah, the some of the live theater aspect of noise performances can be amazing. And it's all over the place. And yeah, there's just so much you can do.
yeah. Um, Something I always like to kind of bring up when I'm talking to like a fellow noise musician is what do you what do you see like for the like noise like the future of like noise music like as a genre? Like, do you think that it's like will forever be like this like very niche underground thing, or do you think like there's like a place in the future for it to be like a bigger, because like I feel like I mean, not necessarily like mainstream music, but I feel like there is more like there's more like music, it can be more like aggressive, like people are like open to it, and like we're just like yeah, music's just getting like more experimental and stuff. An example I always like to use is like the hyper pop type stuff is like some of their stuff
Mhm.
just gets like really like in your face, and it's like or shit even back when fucking like that loud wobble bass dubstep was a thing, it's
Yeah,
like
that's where I was just thinking. Like the first time I heard Skrillex would be, I think that would be like sort of the like peak of where like noise would be in terms of like mainstream. I feel like in
yeah,
terms of that level of abrasiveness, like it, I don't know. I think any kind of like popular music is always going to have like a beat, like
yeah,
like an approachable time signatures, and like it's always going to have like those certain like pop music elements, even in like metal and rock and
like that you gotta have something
anything.
to like kind of latch on to, something where
Exactly,
you're
yeah.
like yeah
Yeah, I
uh
think noise music's always going to be like very niche. But I mean, stuff does like branch out. Like look at like when Trent Reznor started doing his movie scores. That wasn't like anything else, but like those were like huge albums, at least for me, like being like
Mhm.
an indie rock kid at the time, like the Social Network came out, and like listening to those like huge like ambient and like sort of dissonant scores that he was doing at the time for like Social Network, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, all those. So it definitely has a place. Um, you know, we're not going to see like Vomir in the top 20 though.
Nah, just it's something I think about a lot. But yeah, just like like the hyperpop thing, and then just like seeing like EDM music just in
Mhm.
general is like really really big, and I just like yeah, I hear some of the stuff that or like I see some of the like live performances and stuff, and it's like man, this is like is it really that far off, like because it's I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, there are like certain acts that are like creeping into uh I don't like follow a lot of like general music news
Hmm.
and stuff like that, but like so like they're creeping into what to me would be like mainstream, and that just means that like whatever like blog that I follow on Twitter or Instagram. But like bands like actually just retired their project, but like Lingua Ignata, is that what it
Oh
is?
yeah.
Like she's creeping up on like like bigger like metal music blogs, and that's like very much a noise project to me.
Hmm.
So you know who knows, who knows what people are going to latch onto and decide that is
Yeah.
really popular next.
I mean, and then too, you have like I don't know, and then it's like he's seen like God is War, he's like touring with like Full of Hell and stuff too. And I mean,
Yeah.
he's kind of yeah, I don't know, it's like he's like a noise musician, but he kind of like toes the line. Like there's a lot of his stuff I feel like is like very like hip hop influenced.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, I don't know. I think I don't know. I think there's like definitely like more. I think people are opening up more for like experimentation at least, which
Yeah,
is cool to see.
absolutely.
So. I mean, yeah, here in Wichita, we're trying to. One of our big things is like we're just trying to get more gigs set up where we're just kind of playing with like regular local bands,
Hmm.
and I just to kind of like, because yeah, I'm just trying to hit that crossover of like, like yeah, if you're into, if you come out for a band that does like gore grind type stuff, it's like, are us noise guys really that far off? Especially in
Yeah,
like a live
exactly.
setting, it's like it's a vibe.
Hmm. No, yeah, that's awesome. um Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say like what the future holds. Like if I had to like completely like close my eyes and like imagine like the future and like flying cars and shit and music, it probably just sounds like Aphex Twin to me.
Yeah,
So like, and that's already like 10 years ago, 20 years ago. So who the fuck knows?
I used to have that thought as a kid that like in the future music would literally just be like nonsensical bleeps and bloops. Like that's like
Yeah.
that's just like what it would evolve into.
Yeah. And then you get fucking ambient works. So it's like, oh fuck, that should happen.
I already thought about this. Uh, man, I'm still waiting for the flying car. So that
Ah,
just made me think like it's so funny like when you see like how back in like the 50s and 60s like the sci-fi and stuff how they like
oh my
predicted
god, I
what the
love like
2000s would look like. Like I
the
fucking wish.
50s idea of the future is so amazing. Like we were robbed entirely of that.
I'm disappointed. Like I feel like I had the rug pulled out from under me.
Somebody fucked up. Like you had the
Yeah,
fucking blueprints. Just
template. I know, man. Like, yeah, I need like a jetpack or something. Like,
oh, seriously, I fucking hate driving.
year
I need to
2023, we still don't even have jetpacks.
oh, we have nothing. Like I don't know.
Uh, what's so like with like the live gigs and stuff? You're like you're not in like you're like outside of New York City, right? It's like a few hours away. So like you're kind of like in like a smaller town, like up in you're like upstate New York.
Yeah, I'm upstate New York. I'm about 3 hours out of the city.
Okay. So like what's the like when you do like gigs and stuff, is it like local to you or do you have to like drive out to
I
like a
drive
bigger
out to typically, um, and with the growing culture of like the DIY venues and stuff, you never know where stuff's gonna pop up.
hmm.
Currently, the shows that I've done or gone to, recently, that's in like the Albany or Troy area, so that's like an hour away, give or take. But I mean, that's like the distance that I'm used to traveling to like go to any show. So
Yeah.
it, yeah, it works. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm always kind of curious like what the yeah, what like the local scene is like, especially from people that are living in like not major cities. Because like Wichita is not I think we have like 500,000 people, but it's still not like I mean, we don't get like a bunch of big gigs coming through or anything crazy, you know. So
Yeah.
it's kind of
And we get stuff in like Albany, like the capital, and that's more or less it, unless
mm,
except the city. Like
yeah.
you've got Albany, New York City, and then like Buffalo to the west.
Hmm.
And those are the three places that you stop if you're on tour. So
Is how far away from you are is Ithaca, New York? I see they have like a lot of they're doing like a lot of dungeon synth and gigs.
yeah, I've seen that. And they're a fair ways out. They're like somewhere between me and Buffalo. I've definitely driven through Ithaca at some point. So
Hmm. Yeah, because they like I don't know I don't even know that I was familiar with that town until I started seeing the I think Gnome is either based out of there or just like lives around there, but he
yeah, I think
performs
he's
out
in
there.
Rochester,
Yeah,
which
that's right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yep, yep, yep.
Uh, but
Yeah,
yeah, then
which
he's
that's
usually that's like a smaller one too, isn't it?
Rochester, yeah, that's and it's like a big college town. Big. I
Okay.
don't know what that big.
New
But
York
yeah,
State is like so weird to me because it's just like you have New York City and then like the rest of the state is just like, you know,
so much
just a
there's
bunch of
so much
small
of it.
towns and it's like huge. Yeah.
And there's so much tribalism. It's insane. Like there's New York City, and then it's just like this fucking wasteland of like just I don't know. Like like this I'm in Amsterdam, and it's like this like city center area that's just been dropped into the middle of farm country. It's like such a fucking weird place. I don't know. If you go 20 minutes outside of my city in any direction, like you're literally in the woods. But like I'm living in like very much like the most urban place for like, the next hour or so.
Mhm. Did you grow up there or is that
No,
just like kind of where you ended up?
I grew up in the city until I was like 12 or so, and then I moved to like the deep woods. And
Oh
then
shit.
yeah. And then I've just been sort of like in that area, like outside of, that outside of country, but sort of like moving into like the suburbs and
Yeah.
places like that ever since
Yeah, that's
then.
like the kind of like the perfect little like median, you know, like I wouldn't I don't know, living like way out in the boonies. I don't know that I would want to do, but I definitely would not want to live in like a big bustling city like New York City. I
Yeah, I
know for
wouldn't
sure I
want
would
to.
not be able to.
No, I would never live in New York City again.
Yeah.
Yeah, we moved to this little town called Caroga Lake. And it's like there's a lake there, as you might have guessed. So it's like the population jumps like by 2 times in the summer, and then they leave again in the fall. So it's like a ghost town, and it's the kind of place where it's like if you don't get gas on the way home, like you might not make it to the gas station when you
Shit.
leave for work.
Oh.
Yeah, and I like hated that when I was in like middle school and high school, but now
Hmm.
I want that so bad.
Yeah, no, it's like as you get older, you like appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you want it to be like you want to live kind of more quiet and slow. At least
Hmm.
I don't know. That's how I am. I'm
Hmm.
trying to like
100.
Wichita's cool, but I don't know. I kind of want to get like further, like maybe like 30 minutes outside the city or something. Get like a little,
30 minutes outside of the city is a great like,
yeah,
yeah.
uh,
Yeah, for
yeah,
like all of like the metal and noise and whatever other like horribly abrasive music that I listen to, um, I like ambient like noise that I don't want just drives me so fucking crazy. Like,
yeah. We man, we had me and my girlfriend were kind of like in the like looking around for houses right now, and like over the summer there was one that we had gone to that was like pictures looked really nice, and we showed up, but it was like it was rainy and it was in the like it was at night, so it was dark out, and so we didn't get like a full like view of the house. I mean, like we did, but it was like we had to do like a really quick walkthrough,
mm,
and yeah. So that first day we saw it, we're like, oh man, this is perfect. But we went and saw it again, like the following day, and then it's like right next to the highway. When we saw it when it was raining, you can't hear the cars on the
right,
highway and
yeah.
stuff. We went there in the morning, and it's like loud as fuck, and like you just hear cars passing by and honking and stuff. Like if I move in this place, I'm gonna go
That's
fucking
yeah, no.
crazy. Like,
Yeah, that drives you insane.
yeah, I just want to hear like the sounds of like yeah, crickets chirping and
Hmm.
the sound of
Crickets and
night.
like a tree. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That's all I want.
yeah. Uh, no, it's crazy though, because like when I was younger though, New York City was actually like it was like the dream of mine. It was like, oh, you just move to the big city. There'd be so much more to, I don't know, more to do and stuff. But it's like
Yeah,
not
it's
really
just so
worth all
much.
the extra bullshit that comes with it.
Yeah, it stresses me out to just think of that many people in one
Yeah,
place.
I'm like very thankful now. Like, I mean, yeah, just being, I don't know. It's so funny, like going from like being like young and being like wanting so badly to like get out of my like little small town, and now I'm like, I'm so grateful that like that I'm not like yeah, stuck in some really expensive, overpopulated whatever. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, it's rough and it's hard to like it's so hard to decide where you want to live,
mm,
especially like for me now. Like I'm like every time I'm looking at apartments, I'm looking at like school districts and shit, and it's like none of them are good. It's just
oh man, that's just like a whole nother thing. Like, I don't have any kids yet, but like the thought of like yeah, having to make those kinds of decisions just like
yeah,
stresses me out.
yeah, it's a lot. I mean, honestly, there's a song from The Simpsons that will tell you everything that you need to know about upstate New York.
Man, I want to, yeah, I want to like, I want to go up there though to like see. That's like the one part of the United States that I haven't really like. I mean, I haven't. It's not like I've been to every like other state, but it's like I haven't been to like the Northeast like region at all.
The
So
Northeast is, and it's nice, like getting up into the mountains. They're fucking beautiful, especially
yeah,
in the fall. And you know, like I live in what they call like lake country. It's just everywhere. Every town has its own lake, more or less, that kind of thing.
man, that's cool though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we don't. Man, can't like that's the one thing that like kind of like we have the we have the plains and stuff that you can, that is kind of like interesting to see, but it's like the whole state is just very, very flat. Like there's not a lot of
Yeah.
like nature type stuff or like I don't know. But but yeah, like that's the one thing that I kind of wish that I did have, like that we could, get out to is like mountains and shit. We gotta drive out to Colorado to, get a real taste of majestic nature.
Yeah, like I said, with my city, like where it's just like dropped into the woods. It's like honestly, like I had like this shitty apartment in the ghetto, like for so long, and then but like I could also like go two streets over and there'd be like a deer in somebody's front lawn, which is and
Yeah,
in a way it's perfect. I just wish there was a little bit more like not necessarily even like a scene. It's just like it's kind of like run down. Nobody has any sort of like motivation to be here
Mhm.
outside of like, just living.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like there's not enough to like make someone want to make it better, I guess.
Yeah. Like, the kids are, they kind of like go through school and then leave, or they become drug addicts, or, and like there's other people that like me that came here later, I just kind of like grabbed a factory job, and now I'm just, I do my own thing and then I go out of town to do that thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes, so
Man, the kids are the kids are the ones that they gotta, yeah, I don't know, like they're the future,
yeah,
They
I will say it's entirely possible that I just don't have my finger on the pulse, but from what I've seen, like there doesn't seem to be anything happening
yeah.
anywhere.
I mean, yeah, there's not anyone doing it, It's yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like I would have seen a flyer by now, at least,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, just being like online and stuff, because for a while I didn't have social media. Like I kind of just like went ghost on everything. And so then like I like didn't even realize that like Wichita had, like I would see flyers around town and shit, but it's like the flyers would go kind of, I don't know, they just look kind of lame, It's like, oh, that's not anything I'm interested in. And it's like as soon as I get on Instagram, it's like, oh shit, we actually have like noise artists and metal musicians and like, bands like
The
pouring through sometimes.
Yeah, no, your area is kind of like blowing up in terms of like all that like niche music stuff, and it's
Yeah.
awesome. Like I don't like we had like a small like indie rock scene that was like really cool back in like 2010 in the Albany area,
Mhm.
and then I kind of like lost touch with the whole thing. So like I don't really know a whole lot of what's going on outside of the really niche stuff right now, but it's not, it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot going on outside
Yeah.
of, like, they're cool like indie and hardcore bands that are doing the DIY thing out in Albany. Um, but that's like, that's the younger generation, and it's literally like, good for them. And like,
Mhm.
I'm sort of like in that sort of mindset at this point. But yeah, on the very low local level, like it's just not, the kids don't seem to be doing much in this town, at least.
Mhm. I mean, I don't know. It could happen like eventually. Kind of just like, kind of comes in waves.
Yeah, and it
Like I know,
only takes like a handful. And part of it's like the community, and there's not even like a coffee shop in this town anymore. So like,
oh shit,
yeah, like we have like, the gas stations and stuff. That's where everybody gets their coffee. But like,
man.
yeah, like we don't even have like the open mic place, or there's like a handful
Uh,
of bars that like hire DJs, but that's,
yeah, man. I kind of, I don't know. My brother lives out in this like small town called Emporia. That's like it's
Mhm.
like an hour outside of Wichita, but then is closer to like Kansas City and like the college town that we have. But there's
Mhm.
like, yeah, there's like barely anything out there. It's like you have Walmart, McDonald's, and stuff. But it's like there's not really any like local businesses or like stuff to do. And yeah, it's weird because it's like that small town has like they have like a kind of like in between. I don't know. It's a university, but I think it's almost kind of like in between like a university and a community college type thing.
Mhm.
So it's like there's kids that are like live there and like go out there for school and stuff, but then it's like I don't know. He kind of tells me about he tells me how there's like nothing to do out there, but then it's like I don't know. I think it's just like yeah, if someone just kind of started doing something, it's like they have the
Exactly.
kids
I mean,
there.
that's where like the whole DIY thing just comes in
Mhm.
to play. It's so hard. Like it just, if you can't play somebody, or if you can't play somewhere, you gotta, like, you lose interest.
Yeah,
Bands not gonna take off if they have nowhere to play.
yeah. And like it's discouraging too. Like have just dealing with like yeah, finding a venue and then it's like if no one wants to like yeah, no one wants to like let you play or just having to deal with like I've been having to deal with like shitty like bookers and shit too. So it's just
Mhm.
kind of like yeah. It's like yeah, if you only have like one place to play in town as like a potential venue, it's like yeah, I can't even imagine like I don't know. It's discouraging, if you can't
Yeah. No,
have
like,
somewhere to be able to play regularly.
yeah, that'll be my message for the show, is like, if you got a fucking basement, like, get a band in there on the weekend. Like,
Fuck yeah,
just
dude.
fucking do something.
Yeah.
Don't let
Or
your town
like
stagnate. Like,
get a generator and post up in a park or something, you
seriously,
know,
just
like
fucking just anything. Just,
yeah,
make art happen. Let art happen.
yeah, for sure, man. Like, yeah, that's kind of just like, yeah, I don't know. That's what I really just want to see more of. It's just like more kids doing it. That's what really
Yeah.
like inspires me. And I was like going out to the local shows, and I just like everyone's like way younger than I feel like I'm like the old guy now at shows, but then
Oh,
it's
I'm
just like
that's I'm very much the old guy at shows now. So it's like,
nothing
yeah.
wrong with it though, you know? But yeah, it's like it's so fucking cool to seeing the kids like, you
Mhm.
know, yeah, they're booking shows and they're fucking, you know, they're doing their thing and stuff. And it's just like if we can just keep this momentum going and like,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
pass the torch to the next set of group of people and
I have
you
no
know.
problem being the 33-year-old guy two-stepping at a fucking basement show
Yeah.
for high school kids. Like, like good. Like, I'm there for them. Like, this is
Yeah.
their show. I'm just
When I was a teenager going to like, ah man, back in like the early 2000s, like Wichita was like had a really pop on like hardcore, like MySpace deathcore bands. We got all the heavy hitters came through. And yeah, that was like, man, there were so many good shows. But you know, yeah, back then, you know, I'm like 12, 13 going to shows, and it's like, you know, I'd see like the older people, but I mean everybody back then seemed older to me. But it's like,
yeah.
you know,
They
that's
were
what
21. There's like
yeah, man, that guy's old as fuck.
your life's over.
Crazy. But yeah, you know, it's like I always kind of yeah, you know, it's like fuck, man, I want to be like that dude when I get older. Like I want to be fucking, you know, that guy. So I think that's like a big thing too, is like getting older and then like not there's a lot of people that, you know, it's like they're like, oh, I can't go to shows anymore. It's like I'm too old for that shit. But it's like
Right.
it's still fun. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't know.
it all depends on your mindset. That's it.
Yeah.
Like
Uh,
everything else.
yeah. I'm just trying really hard to yeah, not fall into being older guy mentality and being like, oh man, I got stuff to do tomorrow. I can't go to the show. Like, now I gotta, you know.
I mean, it's possible to do both things. It's
Yeah,
like,
I don't know. Trying to maintain that energy. That's like one of the things I keep maintaining in the back of my head is like don't be one of those old people. You gotta be a cool guy forever.
no, no.
Uh,
And we all get older. We all, it happens to the best of us. So
uh, so I guess like yeah, like do you have any like I guess you kind of like had your like final words like earlier, but like yeah, do you have anything to wrap it up? Anything you want to promote, say, before we finish it off?
no. Yeah, just I mean, I've got I'm gonna make music, I'm gonna do art, I'm gonna write stuff. Um I I'll talk about those things when I do them on, various socials and whatever. But just whoever's watching or listening, just fucking you do something. I want to hear that. Like I'm old. I have two kids. I like all the shit that I do is like Homer and Barney start this new business venture and all, like, but you're paying attention to Bart and Lisa. I'm a side character. Like just other people. I want other people making art. I want to see all that shit.
Hell yeah, I love it, dude. That's a yeah, yeah. You fucking do it. That's great. I love it. Um, well, shit. Yeah. I mean, I'll plug your stuff for you, man. You got like that upcoming thing, the sexual harassment
Yeah.
release. um, we got the Oppenheimer in Japan is coming out in the next couple of weeks. I have the tapes for it. I just need to yeah, just get like the rest of the releases like settled up, and then you and me have a split coming out as well at some
Yeah.
point, probably in the next. at some point. I'm working on my last. I'm
When
working on
it
my second
happens,
track.
yeah,
Yeah, and then
I'm not in
uh,
a rush.
yeah, and I have like a bunch of spare tapes too, so we could do like a tape release on that if you wanted to too. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know. I
I'm
always
up for
like
it,
doing.
man.
Yeah, I'm always down for self releases.
Yeah,
Like I always have like extra supplies. So, but yeah, man. Lot to look forward to in the future. Um, and yeah, man. Thanks for like hopping on and talking to me and stuff, dude. This was
yeah,
fun,
absolutely.
and
This is fun.
yeah,
Yeah.
great. Yeah, like
Um,
great to meet you. It was yeah, it's interesting like having you and me like we've been talking to each other through like DM since like early last year, and now we're finally meeting face to
yeah,
face. It's like kind of a trip. I love it though.
yeah, no, it's great. Yeah, I'll definitely hop on again at some point.
Fuck
Yeah,
yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
yeah,
All right, man. I'll let you go, dude. Appreciate it.
yeah, absolutely. All right,
See you, dude.
cheers.